Hi, Beth Strathman here with a quick leadership tip for you today. Have you ever been in a position where it came to light that the story that other people had in their heads about you was completely different than the way you saw yourself? That's why it's important as a leader to know the story that people tell about you, because if people are projecting onto you or interpreting things differently about you than you do, and telling a different story about you, it can really affect the amount of trust that is between you. And in general, you should be in touch with how you're coming across to other people. You should be able to have more control over the story that people are telling about you. And so, this has happened to me. For example, I walked into a new position in a new organization and didn't realize the effect that previous incumbents in the position had had, and that those effects were still reverberating through various employee groups in the organization. So when I came in, those employee groups just sort of projected all of that past history onto me, even though I hadn't been a part of it. And then any of my interactions, any of the things that I was doing or proposing or participating in, got filtered through that perception of all the negative stuff that had come before, and many of the things that I was trying to do that I believed were positive were interpreted negatively. They were just simply misunderstood. So it became apparent that in order to get more trust with those employee groups and to take back control of my reputation and the story that people were telling about me, that I needed to really start to figure out where this was all coming from. So I would suggest that one of the biggest techniques you can do is to really formally and informally listen to those other stakeholder groups or participant groups that might be holding a different view of you than you have of yourself. You're going to learn a lot. And as you're listening, it's not about defending yourself so much as it is about understanding where that interpretation is coming from. And that interpretation usually comes from a combination of, number one, the other perspectives, values, and what they're committed to, what's important to them, right? So think about, listen for what their values are. Secondly, it can come from what they're loyal to. Maybe they're loyal to certain people or ideals or projects or programs within the organization. And finally, what they stand to lose if a particular change comes along or whatever you're proposing goes into effect. People will go into reactive mode when they perceive that their identity or their job or whatever is threatened, and that they perceive that they're going to lose it. So knowing the story that people tell about you is important. So to get back or to accrue as much trust as you can, make sure you're doing a lot of listening for the values, loyalties, and losses that the other stakeholders have in the particular topic or issue. That's all I have for you today. If you've experienced something like this, please leave a comment below. Let me know what it was. Thanks.